Don't say anything. Hot mic. Hot mic.
Are we broadcast? Oh, nothing?
They're all sorry. Just in case. Yeah. I'm not even gonna put it in unless I need to.
This is the first one, so that might, I don't know.
That one, yeah. Let's see.
I could probably, it's not complicated, I could probably cover that, I was wondering.
Yeah, I think so. We don't know what to do. It's one of those weird. What's that? I don't know. I heard about it. Like, south of there here. So I know.
Would be friendly to say something.
Okay.
Would be friendly around.
That's strange. That was ready. Shut down on that one.
I think this has to do with flushing toilet.
Your walls get out there, drive.
Have you slept a little?
Oh, yeah.
Have you golfed a little?
Can't answer that question then. Obviously.
Sure, Sam.
Hendricks, 6 times.
We do have a quorum for joining the pledge of allegiance on prayer for Houston. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, guide and direct us. Help us not to judge others. Help us to listen and listen and not listen to respond, and help us to do your will. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. First, if you haven't signed in out front, please do so. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from April 22nd.
As far as I can remember, it was moved to approve as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, none opposed, motion carries. Sealed quotes, Gary.
Good morning, sir. We have 2 sets of sealed quotes. The first set is for our Country Heirs Estates, Marine Excavating. $6,925. Second one, Beechwood Construction. $10,000. Second set of quotes for Wood Creek Farms, the section. Oh, sorry. That Wood Creek Farms on it. Marine Excavating, in the amount of $15,900. Beechwood Construction, $10,850.
You got all of them?
Yes, sir.
We'll wait for report. Tiffany, after you examine, next item on the agenda is the drain maintenance expenses of $11,895.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moving to second, is further discussion. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, there are none opposed, motion carries. Acceptance of the auditor's report for the same figure.
Move to approve acceptance.
Second.
Moving to second, those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There are none opposed, motion carries. Town projects, Aspen Trace, HWC Engineering.
This project is, if you know where Kingsway Church is, it's just north of, there's a, I think it's a grade school at the northwest corner, that empty field here. You've already given preliminary approval on this project, so they are here for final approval.
morning, I'm Brandon Burke with HWC Engineering, Office of 135 Pennsylvania. Street Suite 2800, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204. Also here with me today is Melissa Garb with Pulte Homes. We're here to present. There are kind of three on the agenda. Do we want to do all three together?
They're all together.
There are three, two secondary plats and one minor plat that kind of comprise the overall project. Location-wise, this is located at the northwest corner of County Road 100 North and County Road 800 East. There are two underlying parcels. This is the elementary school on the other side of the street, the middle school, and essentially the minor plat is going to subdivide the southern underlying parcel to create a block for the school, and the residential development portion will be on the north side. To the west is Forest Commons. If you want to click to the next. So this is our overall project. It's going to be a phased development. It'll start with a phase 1A, 1B, and essentially 1A is along the roadway. Both sections are going to be built concurrently. It's just kind of broken out so that infrastructure can focus on the backbone needed to kind of deliver 1A so that they can kind of start model homes. In the meantime, they'll be finishing up 1B, so when it comes to community grand opening, everything will be complete with a model home, because a model home could take another 3 months or so to build. In general, from a drainage perspective, kind of simply said, from 800, the water wants to, based on existing topography, drains to the west. You can see we have 2 detention ponds that'll be built with this initial phase. We'll also mass grade section 2. So we'll get our drainage infrastructure in place. Our primary outfall is through Forest Commons, in which case we kind of note that there's an existing 36-inch culvert there. During the development plan, we kind of discussed the fact that it was kind of slightly sloped backwards, and there were some things there that were coming in to fix. So we are proposing, because of the detention and everything else, we would replace that culvert with a 30-inch RCP pipe. And working with the HOA and the surveyor's office, it was also discussed the desire to kind of continue that culvert further west to the west end of Forest Commons, in which case we've kind of addressed that within the construction plans. Flip to the next one. If there are any more specific questions, here's a little bit more detail of the construction plans. And I'll kind of move through. We'll have storm networks to drain the water over to the ponds, attain them, and then release through the culvert. If you go to the next slide, this is and maybe zoom out just a smidge, but this is the culvert reconstruction within Forest Commons. And essentially we'll have our pond outfall come across with a 30-inch RCP, and we'll extend it to the west property line. In order to kind of, this culvert will be lowered a couple feet, which is kind of required from a drainage perspective to put in the detention. It'll also kind of fix the existing 36-inch culvert that's slightly sloped. And to try to keep the culvert kind of covered up, what we'll do is as we lower that pipe, we'll stub to the north and south at 15-inch to collect the rear yard drains. We are also working with the county engineer, John Ayers, as Forest Commons is within the county, to make sure the street and the culvert reconstruction's up to par with them. It's also been communicated with us, potential desire in order to extend this further out, just because this is higher ground and this is kind of low, and the existing 36-inch daylights here, it currently drains as a swale all the way over. As we lower that culvert, we're also trying to extend it. So what happens to provide cover, we might have to do some slight mounding over that culvert, because it's currently at a lower elevation through here in their existing rear yards. So based on the HOA's comments and surveyor's office, there was a discussion of potentially using elliptical pipe to try to get that profile a little bit lower. And we're happy to work with the HOA and explore any additional options if needed. The equivalent for a 36-inch we've determined it's a 24-inch tall by 38-inch wide culvert. When that section gets compressed, that would save about 6 inches in height. And so that's one of the balances of how much are we really gaining for using that kind of unique pipe. The other aspect is we could work with the county on, do we want to stay with 2 feet of cover, or could it go to 1.5 feet? Could it go to 1 foot to try to, again, reduce that profile? And we're also willing to entertain other options as far as maybe not taking the culvert as far if there's a concern that there's going to be that, and potentially look at a concrete line channel or something that can kind of help that water move all the way out without kind of making that area, let's call it soggy in wet seasons where it might be difficult to maintain.
Okay, is the concept that you just laid out, is that for the MIP and the 1A and the 1B all inclusive?
Correct.
Okay.
Those are the plats that would be associated with this, the infrastructure development, the release, the discharge is all together.
So drainage board members, comments, because all three have received preliminary and final approval from the surveyor's office.
Dave, we had a couple homeowners from Forest Commons come in, and we got those addressed. With
Yeah,
their
they're-
backyards, they say they got soggy and they
Yes.
can't mow and that type of thing.
Yeah, Brandon has looked at that, and part of the design is to try to help them a little bit on that. Yeah,
As long as we can
I
keep
met
them
with them
happy.
out there in the field, and we talked about it. Brandon brought up a good point about the elliptical pipe will save 6 inches. We could reduce the cover from 2 feet to 18 inches over that pipe. We just want to make sure that we don't have this mound, and then on both sides, we're gonna have water draining, and that starts to silt in or wash out or what. I mean, it's a little bit tricky. Right now, it just holds water, and so that was a concern of the homeowners association. I know one of the homeowners association members is here, Larry. Larry, if you want to mention anything.
Yep, come forward, please. A name and address, if you would, please.
Larry Patterson, and just Forest Commons South subdivision. And, you know, we've worked with David. He's been very helpful, and we appreciate Marissa and Pulte. I think everybody has a natural tendency to say, we don't want to change. I get that, but we're going to get it. That area that the drain pipe will be on right now looks like an extension of the backyards. Okay, it's in grass, it's mowed every week, and you know, we obviously understand this needs to be functional, but also we don't want to have something that detracts from the appearance, you know. So concern with having the hump, if you will, or whatever the right term is, you know, we're gonna maybe have some standing water along both sides of that. And can they mow that, or is it gonna grow up in weeds again, or, you know, that kind of issue. So this appears to be the best solution, but I would just ask that anything we can do to have that be just flatter would look better and probably work better for drainage without having the stuff on both sides. I certainly don't have the expertise that the board and David have, but David, can you comment at all as well?
I'm open to ideas.
Okay.
Is this pipe, is this a reinforced concrete pipe or dual? Well, you're only gonna have a lawnmower riding over it, aren't you?
Right. It's not gonna have much
So
corrosion.
why, go ahead, Dan.
No, go ahead.
What's
Say the
the
same thing.
concern then,
2 feet.
right?
Yeah.
Couldn't we shrink that down?
Standards.
Yes.
Oh,
At what depth does the pipe start at? And I assume it's another pond that we're going into?
A swell.
A swell.
Yeah.
Through the woods.
Drainage course.
Are we 2 feet deep at the start? Are we right on top of the ground?
We're needing to discharge that grade because it's just a natural drainage way.
Here's,
But I think with the pipe and less coverage, you can gain 12 inches, is that correct? Is that, what was it, 6 and 6 we were gaining?
Yes. And I would generally say, based on existing conditions today, the entire agricultural field is kind of draining in there and going through the pipe and discharging into those rear yards
Maybe a little more
today.
managed. Could,
Yeah.
likely the outcome, it's improved, right?
Correct, and if it's continued further to the west, one of the benefits is gonna be all that water will no longer be there. The only water draining to, if we're calling it kind of a slight hump, is gonna be the rear yards. And that's going to be a difference of the agricultural field on the, or, undeveloped area to the east, so that kind of water won't be seen, it'll just be at the discharge point. The other thing is, depending on improvements within the yard, being able to maybe feather that back a little bit. We can tell based on grade that we can kind of get that kind of swale profile on each side. It's just a matter of how abrupt do you want it? Do you want it compacted in which case you might notice that change more? Do you want to kind of feather that out a little bit?
The engineers will get it right, and then it comes down to the contractor and the inspectors.
And I'm
Mr.
sure
Bur-
we watched and supervised.
Mr. Burke has reviewed this, right?
Yes, that's right.
And you guys are okay, it's gonna work, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Is there enough, I mean, is water an issue on both sides that, we would need a plastic tile on the sides to, because the RCP, obviously, being shallow is not going to allow water, to be absorbed on its sides, Is there enough depth to put, pipes along each side to actually allow that subsurface water?
I don't know, this is a pond, so we're not gonna have to worry about that.
Okay.
These are the homes. I don't know that we're gonna need plastic pipe in these little swells. I don't think there's gonna be that much drainage and that much water there. My opinion, Brandon.
Yeah, and by adding an under drain, you need that vertical elevation to put it underground and discharge it. And that's kind of the natural issue here in the existing conditions, the fact that it's just a natural drainage way through there. So that elevation kind of challenge, to put something in below, you don't have a discharge point.
We're to the point of aesthetics because the detention is gonna help. And we're not gonna get as much siltation filling in this swell that we have with this farm field. So that's gonna help. It at this point, it's going to work, it's aesthetics.
So, let it be noted then of Michael's suggestion, which I like, because if we need something like that, we need to do it now. We need to design it now.
There's no grade to do it, he said.
And David, didn't you say it was, I think you said 24 inches, but it could be reduced to 18 inches?
They've got 2 foot of cover now. We could go to 18 inch of cover, and that gives them 6 inches. If they're willing to go to the elliptical pipe, maybe it gives us another 6 inches.
Which would help with what the HOA was asking for.
Yes.
Okay.
Elliptical pipe is more expensive,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Put in.
if that helps,
Okay,
a
but
foot, that'd be great.
as always, remain agile on this thing, so when you get out there, if something changes, then be willing just to contact the surveyor's office and say, hey, we could lower this down, we can only have 5 inches of cover. Be willing to be agile on site.
Right.
So you've heard the presentation for all 3 projects, preliminary and final approval for all 3. What is the will of the board?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. There's one opposed.
Can I, one more comment, just so I know what to share with the board members?
Michael.
So where do we stand on the elliptical pipe at this point, I guess?
That's the design, I assume.
I think it was mentioned, I don't know that it was the design. My preference would be that we're using the elliptical pipe and we're lowering or lessening the bed depth on the top.
Yeah.
Or that was part of my motion, how's that?
That's correct. And I'll make that a part of my second then, because I think that's what we
Yeah.
were hearing from the HOA.
We're depending on you, to be
Yeah.
honest,
We depend on him and his
Yeah.
expertise, but ultimately,
yeah.
if it's engineered well and it's installed well, I think you have a improved situation.
Thanks.
May I ask?
Next item on the agenda
May I
is.
ask a question?
Sure.
Of council, person, why did you go the way you did?
Yeah, I guess too, I wasn't too sure on what was clarified on the elliptical versus, what the final plan was
Yeah, and your preference would be the elliptical, I assume.
to gain depth and,
All right.
I feel as if, and obviously maybe there's not enough depth. I don't know where the outlet is, but, I believe something needs to be beside it to help the houses.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just say something real quick?
Identify yourself, name and address. please.
Melissa Gerard, Pulte Homes, 11595 North Meridian Street, Carmel. This is an existing problem today. The pipe isn't right and it drains the wrong way. We're fixing that, and not only that, we're extending it for twice the length that we would need to fix it to accommodate our subdivision. So we're already doing twice as much more than we need to at the request of the neighbors. I don't know how much we need to save here, but if we only need to do 6 inches, I'd rather make that up in cover and not have to do the elliptical pipe. But there are other cost-saving measures we might be able to accommodate too, like Brandon mentioned, the concrete line channel, which would address all the maintenance issues. They wouldn't have to mow the concrete channel. So I think we want to work with the homeowners and we want to work with the surveyors, but we kind of need to bear in mind, is it worth the cost difference on the for 6 inches on the elliptical pipe, especially if we don't need it or if there are other means to accomplish the same purposes.
I guess the presentation shouldn't have been too open-ended then, because it was pretty open-ended the way it was presented to us.
Yeah.
Except that you closed it.
I agree.
That your motion says it has to be elliptical
I
pipe.
agree with that,
Yeah.
but we're having this discussion because that's the way it was passed. We can revoke that, but I think it would put you in a situation where you're not gonna get your approvals, or we open it up for further discussion, but it's Bob's chair, sorry, Bob.
No, it's fine. This is kind of convoluted because I almost wish I voted with Michael because there's nothing, I need to know what it's gonna be. I guess I'm gonna trust Christopher Burke. And it's gonna be on Tiffany and Dave to make sure it goes in right. Make sure, because Jack and I just, if you got a reinforced concrete pipe, you can have, if all you're gonna have is lawnmowers, I can have 4 inches of cover. I've seen people drive lawnmowers over the reinforced concrete pipe with no cover.
But it's gotta be approved based on how it was engineered, so it can be installed based on how it
Right,
was
that's
engineered.
kind of where, and you guys know the engineering concept, right? Christopher Burke does. Okay, and they've told me, they gave me the thumbs up that it's gonna work. So I guess it's gonna be
The
incumbent
pipe is
upon.
big enough to carry. The pipe is big enough to carry what they're designing.
Yes.
Now, the aesthetics, all that, whether we use elliptical, if you concrete, it's not gonna matter. That's just aesthetics. The engineering is gonna carry the water from this project. So however we want to require that pipe, concrete pipe, plastic pipe, 3 plastic pipes, open channel, that's just aesthetics.
Thank you for clarifying that. Dave.
Yes.
So, but the way it's written, the way we voted currently is that it will have an elliptical pipe.
Which would put added cost to the burden, and that's why we're revisiting this,
My
but we don't
personal
have
opinion
to.
is.
It shouldn't have been mentioned if the individual, I guess, and we don't wanna put you in a spot where you're spending unnecessary money, but if I were presenting that, I wouldn't have brought it up, or I would have said, we're not willing to do that. Before we.
It is what it is now, unless the board wants to back up and start over, which, we gotta find something. I mean, it's like what are we working with? We're
We're
working with
working
an
with what was
elliptical pipe.
engineered, which was not elliptical pipe. And less
And
not the
we
amount of
just
coverage.
specified that
And
it will
then we
be.
adjusted it, which maybe we shouldn't have done that, but
Well,
we were
you
trying to
wanna-
appease
you
a
wanna-
homeowner.
It was given as an option
It
by the
was.
project engineer.
But I don't think it was given as an option as the one that writes the check.
Yeah, there were 3 different kind of permutations, and I don't know if we can entirely address the aesthetic issues with one versus the other option. I don't know that it was necessarily presented that we would do a combination of these things. I think our preference would be to see what kind of relief we can get on cover and whether we can level it out that way. Regardless, from a functioning standpoint, any of those 3 options will work. And what we have designed and presented to you is a round pipe. I know at the last minute, I just got an email yesterday on the elliptical pipe. I'm not the person with the checkbook on that either. So I don't know that we've made a study of that in terms of whether it's worth it to achieve 6 inches reduction in grade for the cost of the elliptical pipe. We have always worked with your surveyor's office. We're working with them here by extending the length of the pipe twice as long as we really need to do it as a matter of aesthetics. But I don't know, I think we just want some flexibility to see how much relief we can get on cover first and see if we can make it work that way. And then we'll have to, evaluate how much savings we get on the elliptical pipe versus the cost and determine whether or not a concrete channel would be useful at that point.
Well,
I think as long as Pulte and the homeowners and HOA and the developer are all working together like I heard prior to this vote, I think it'll work out, as long as they can keep in communications.
Either way will work. I'm happy to work with them to come to a resolution, but from an engineering perspective, it's good. Any of the options will work. Do you just want to give me the authority to work with them and come up with the best solution? I can do it.
how much elliptical pipe are we looking for? Like 100 feet, 800 feet? How many feet?
I don't think we have all those numbers and the costs in front of us. I think at this point, what we need to do to move the agenda forward is if somebody's willing to make a motion to provide that flexibility
Yes, if
to
someone would make
the
a motion.
surveyor's office, then the burden rests with David.
Yes,
and-
if someone would make a motion to allow discretion to the surveyor's office.
Or can we amend the motion that was made and passed?
Just amend the motion, you can just amend it.
You think we should amend the motion?
Yeah, that's the simplest way, just amend the motion.
Even though it's already passed.
Yeah, you can always
Okay.
amend the motion, then allow the 3 options.
Someone-
I'm gonna amend the motion that I made and was seconded and passed to provide some flexibility to David Gaston's in the surveyor's office to find the best solution that takes costs into consideration to the developer, gets the county appropriate drainage and appeases the HOA of Forest Commons.
Second.
It's been seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There are none opposed.
Thank you.
Finally.
Michael might sign those now.
Next, Briarwood, Stoppelworth and Associates, preliminary approval.
This project is basically just east, a mile from where we were just at. Okay, this is 900 East, US 36, Walmart's over here. We're looking at this area right in here, right?
Just north of Costco.
Just north of Costco. All right,
My name is Brian Brown, Stepworth and Associates, 7965 East 106th Street. Looking at 18 acres. As David said, you could pull up the primary. Just as easy.
where's that?
The middle one.
That one.
The middle one.
This is also in the town of Avon.
that work underway already? Some work
Month ago,
a month ago?
yeah, it's pretty well torn up.
Okay,
Roads are in.
that's what I thought. Okay.
To my knowledge, we've not started any construction on it.
It's well underway.
Okay.
I was shocked as the engineer,
I'm
huh?
like,
I didn't know that
I need
either.
to have a discussion with our client.
I drive by there for amount.
But there's one just south of us that's under construction.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
There's two properties south of us that's under construction.
That's my mistake.
It's like, don't scare me like that. If they're moving it without, that concerns me.
Just south of that church, I think.
Engineers aren't that important, right? Just get on with it.
Hey, let's stay focused, because we got a lot to do.
All right, so 18 acres, gonna try, put 55 lots on there. The property as itself drains now to the Thomas Feeney, which is, well, an arm to the Thomas Feeney that is in 900 East. It's a 24-inch pipe that drains from south to north. The property drains into two different catch basins of the same drain, so we will be tying into one, reducing our drainage, reducing our release rates down to just under 3 CFS, 2 CFS for the 100-year storm. So we're taking it all through a very small orifice into the 24-inch pipe. Originally, we thought we had some offsite coming onto us, but the subdivision to the north and the west of us actually control their own drainage, so we don't have any of that offsite. We just have a little bit on the southeast corner coming from that house. This is primary approval, and we will have secondary hopefully next month.
This all drains to, what is that, 24?
It's a 24-inch.
24-inch pipe along the west side of 900 East. The cul-de-sac is right up here. The Feeney drain runs, let me get the area.
Actually, go to the existing, you can see it on there. Well, sorry, the other PDF.
Yeah, let me just go to the area.
That works.
So if we put without taking a lot of your guys' time. The Feeney drain runs from the north through here along Carolina Commons and then along the west side of 900, then cuts across and goes all the way down to Texas Roadhouse, basically. The arm is this right here. You can kind of see it. It's right on the east or west side of 900. That's where they're wanting to outlet their detention pond to. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Okay, this is preliminary, the overall. They'll get into the weeds and the details at final. I recommend approval.
You heard the recommendation of the Surveyor's Office. Chair, I entertain a motion.
Move to accept S0425 Briarwood preliminary approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, there are none opposed, motion carries. Kirby Holding, Cruise Consulting.
Okay. This project is just on the north side of the town of Pittsboro.
Good morning, Dale Cruz, Cruz Consulting, 7384 Business Center Drive in Avon, and I'm here this morning on behalf of Herbie Heating and Cooling, and this property is right here. That's the railroad tracks that run through Pittsboro, Maple Street, and then Wall Street's right up here. And Kirby's office currently is right there, and they have purchased this parcel here, this triangle-shaped piece, and these 3 parcels right here. So the proposal in front of you today is to take those parcels and make them into 3 lots in total. This one's not gonna change. The detention pond will be in this odd-shaped triangle here, and then there'll be a parcel here that Kirby will move his office into, and there'll be a vacant parcel right here that could be for sale, could be a future development for Mr. Kirby. We don't know the answer to that yet, but it'll be right here. The drainage outlet for this pond It connects into, what's this called, the Brumfield Walters legal drain tile that's it down here. And it runs through Deer Meadows, runs through the Deer Meadows subdivision. Yeah, but that's where our pond, all of our drainage will go into this pond, and it'll outlet right here.
The drainage, I'm very familiar with that. That's the old grain elevator.
Yep.
And they're located now where the lumberyard used to be. Drainage should work there, because you should have elevation to make that work.
Yeah, there's a lot of elevation to get down there.
You've heard the presentation by Dale. Chair will entertain a motion.
Move for approval, preliminary, excuse me.
And
final.
No, I'm sorry, yeah, and final.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next is Dale Cruz again. Well, are we doing a DPR? Okay,
Yeah, same
go ahead,
thing.
Dale.
So basically, it's the same deal. The DPR that we're proposing right now is only on this front lot right here, where he'll build his office building and his parking area. This parcel right here, we don't have a plan for yet. This is a residentially zoned property that's not part of there's no proposal for this property yet. It's part of Kirk's ground that he owns. But the DPR is this area right here.
Drainage is the same.
Right.
I'll move for preliminary and final approval on that project DPR.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And they're not opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, Jeff, do you want to withdraw this? Is that what the deal is?
They have bought, well, they have an option, Connection Point, from what Ryan told me. They were gonna come in, it's right along 36, new 36, and Main Street, just west of Avon. But they have an option to purchase property to the east. And so they're kind of stepping back and reevaluating their design. So they would like to withdraw this and come back
Okay.
again here in the near future.
Chair, I'll
with a new
entertain a
design.
motion for withdrawal.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And they're not opposed, motion carries. MIP 1197, Dale Cruz.
Again, Dale Cruz, Cruz Consulting, 7384 Business Center Drive in Avon. And this project, we're here on behalf of the Mertz family. Mertz family owns this piece right here. This is a little south of Pittsburgh's Cardinal Estates. Pittsburgh's right up here. And there's an existing home on the property. Mr. Mertz bought this property at a Jack Lawson auction, actually, but he bought this property, has desired to split it into three lots, the existing house plus two. For his two kids, actually. It's the desire to have both of his kids to build out here. One lot will be right here, a lot around the house, and a third lot down here. Access will be right here. This driveway will actually have to go away, and it'll move over to here. So access to this lot will come in here, share with this, and then this lot down here will have its own access out to the county road, and our drainage outlet is a extensive field tile network that's out in the farm field that's to the south of it, south and east of us. There's a tile that was ran up into this property when this parcel was tiled. There's a tile up here, and we found it, exposed it, dye tested it, ran water through it, and it comes out over in here somewhere. But it made the dye test, it worked.
It does work?
It does work. What size? Our tile, I think our tile is a 6. I'm not sure. It's either 4 or a 6. I don't know. This network's extensive out here. So what it ends up out here, I don't know what it ends up at the outlet. But we had a water shark bring us water, put the dye in it, ran it, and it came through.
Take your word for it.
Yeah, it made it. And the Love family knows what we're doing here.
Pardon?
Mr. Love, Lynn Love, this is Lynn Love's
Yes.
family property.
That's
And
Michael up there. That's you up there.
yeah, Lynn knows what we're doing here. I've talked to Lynn about it.
Okay,
He knows.
good.
I've talked to his sister that actually lives here. They know.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So they're aware. Okay,
They
good.
are.
Thank you for doing that groundwork, Dale. Okay, you've heard Dale's presentation. Chair will entertain a motion.
Move approval, preliminary and final approval on MIP 1197.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, they're not opposed, motion carries. Dale, you're up again, 1198.
One more time, Dale Cruz, Cruz Consulting, 7384 Business Center Drive in Avon. And this project, I'm here on behalf of the Scott family. The Scott family owns two parcels. Right here, it's approximately 15 acres between the two parcels. This is the Hendricks County Airport, County Road 150 South. This is 225 East that eventually ends up coming out onto 36 by the IMI plant. It winds around. And so we're at the southeast corner of 150 and 225. This parcel is not part of the petition. The airport actually owns this. Our customer owns this parcel and this parcel. Their desire is to split, basically combine these two parcels and split them into two. So there'll be two parcels, but they'll just be aligned differently. There'll be a lot line that runs right in about here. The western parcel is where they'll build their own personal residence. And then this eastern parcel will be left undeveloped and yet to be seen or no. We don't know what they want to do with that parcel yet, but it'll just be a vacant parcel. It'll be lot 2 of the minor plat. And there's a ditch that runs along the west side of the county road, taking our perimeter drain outlets for the two septic sites as we're going across the road into the roadside ditch. This is not your typical roadside ditch. This is basically a creek. It runs almost all the time. So John Ayers letting us take our perimeter drain to that ditch. Typically, that would be a challenge with John, but this one's deep and it runs water. So this one is a little different than most.
This,
Should be-
this is in the county.
It is in county
not-
jurisdiction.
Not the town of Danville.
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct. This is town. This is the airport.
Yes.
I talked to Lisa Tierney yesterday about this, and she didn't have any trouble or problems with what we were proposing to do here.
Very good. The Surveyor's Office recommending preliminary and final approval, and you'll note that there's no regulated drain involved here.
Move to approve MIP 1198.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, none opposed, motion carried. Next. I'm not sure what this,
MIP 1199.
Cut off on the pages.
oh,
Yeah.
Dale Cruz again, 1199.
Again, Dale Cruz, Cruz Consulting, 7384 Business Center Drive in Avon. This property is just a little northwest or outside of North Salem on Ladoga Road. It's this parcel right here. So this parcel is owned by the Williams family. These guys are traditionally farmers, but this particular piece right here is not a great parcel for farmland. The end rows are goofy. There's a lot of elevation change challenges on this thing that they don't usually see. So their desire is just to split this into two lots. So the overall perimeter of the plat is this odd shaped parcel right here. There you go. There's a big high spot in the middle. And so the plat is this parcel here. The proposal is to divide it into two. So we're taking a lot line, essentially running it down the middle. It's not exactly in the middle, but for argument's sake, call it in the middle. So we have a line in the middle, one lot, and one lot. Roadside ditch has more slope than we're used to having, so we have good drainage on the roadside ditch. Jake Arthur has done a very extensive field tile network out in this field. He ran a tile up. That's not the tile, but that dark area right there is basically where the tile is. The tile's new. There's a riser up here that's brand new that will be our perimeter drain outlet for this northern lot. We hired the same water delivery truck to bring us 5,000 gallons of water, and we piped it out. Actually, no, wrong. This one we didn't hire the truck. Bryce Williams loaded up one of his water wagons and drug it out there in the mud a week ago, and with a tractor, and drug it out there, and we put 1,000 gallons of water in this tile right there, and it came out in the ditch in about 15 minutes, right down in here.
So the drainage is gonna work.
Drainage is gonna work. Yep. Jake was pretty sure it was gonna work. It did.
Surveyor's Office recommending preliminary and final approval. Chair will entertain a motion. No regulated drain involved.
I'll move for preliminary and final approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None opposed, motion carries. MRP 160, Dale.
One more time, Dale Cruz, Cruz Consulting, 7384 Business Center Drive in Avon. This project is, it's right in here, so it's a little bit south and east of Coatesville, south and west of Amo. And the proposal is to take, so this is a little bit of an odd area, so, what's that? Yeah, so this is a little bit of an odd area. There's a county road here, 625 west. There also is a county road, there's a road here. And so there's been a desire for many years now, actually, I've learned, there's been a desire to kind of clean this area up and have one road. And after some discussion with John Ayers, the desire is for the road to actually be this and keep it running straight. Challenge is, there's no road right-of-way dedication there yet. So the proposal with this minor plat is to create one lot that is this area here. We are working, incidentally, we're working for the Nunnally family. The Nunnallys own this, they own this, and they own this. They are under contract to sell this and this, but they're retaining this. And one of the Nunnally family members desires to build a home on this property, which is why we're here asking for approval of a minor plat. This is the opportunity to clean this mess up at this point right now, because we're in the process of doing a plat. So the proposal is to dedicate the entire width of the road right-of-way here, because our customer owns both sides. So they're gonna dedicate, usually we dedicate only the right-of-way on one side of the road, because our customer only owns one side of the road. But in this case, it's a little unique. They own both. So they're gonna dedicate both sides of the road along this entire stretch here. And then this stretch here, the proposal will be to have this stretch vacated. So this will no longer be a county road. So as far as drainage is concerned, there's a creek basically that runs through here. And house and septic want to go up here, there. See, there's a lot of relief on this property. So drainage runs through here. There's a culvert under the road right here. And our proposal is to take our septic system perimeter drain that's up here and outlet it into this creek, just ahead of where it goes under the county road. So, that's really about it. That's the unique thing about this is the road situation. The drainage portion of it is pretty typical for what we normally see on a minor plat.
So in your estimation, is the county gonna have to buy it right away from the Nunnallys to straighten this road out?
No, that's why this is the opportune time to fix this issue, because they're wanting to do a plat, gets the right-of-way dedicated.
Very generous.
That's part of the plat, and in return, they get the western road vacated, and John gets his road network cleaned up that's been a mess since Steve Maxwell was here, which was a long time ago.
You've heard Dale's presentation regarding MRP 160, no regulated drain, preliminary and final approval, recommended. Chair will entertain a motion.
This is more.
Move to approve MRP 160. Fine, preliminary and final.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion?
The only thing is that we'll have to do probably is improve that road, be my guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? None opposed, motion carried. Let's go ahead. Tiffany, you ready with the sealed quotes and recommendations?
You skipped Greg though.
Yeah.
Mr. Serwall.
Do we have an issue?
No, it's a right-of-way thing.
Okay. Tiffany, you want to step forward, please, and give us a recommendation?
Okay, for Country Air Estates, I recommend Moraine Excavating with $6,925 even.
You've heard the recommendation, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second that. It's moved and seconded. Is there further discussion?
That was the lowest one.
Yes.
Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, none opposed, motion carries. Next.
For Wood Creek, I recommend the lowest quote is Beechwood Construction, $10,850.
Move for second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, do not oppose, motion carries. Next, Mr. Stierwald.
Now, on the Conservation Club lease, I was contacted, and they have a board meeting one night this week, I can't remember which one it is, and let me know what the response is.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Dave?
Tiffany, go for it.
Oh, I don't have that. I know Colonel Estates is on there, but I don't believe the property owners are here or anyone from Comer's office, so I would just say we can continue that discussion until
Yes.
maybe the next meeting.
Yes. Tiffany and Tanya from the building planning and I were in discussion, and they met with the attorney who represents the homeowner, and our attorney, which was Graham, was more familiar with it. And they were going to Tiffany and Tanya were going to subsequently meet with the attorneys. And there's just some issues. One of the issues I think we haven't considered yet is if we allow them to move the building and downsize the building, we're gonna have to get some kind of concession from the neighbor, because the water's gonna shed off onto the neighbor dramatically. So there's a lot on this issue. We will continue it, and we'll find out, get us some more information.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Andy to get a hold of us and give us some guidance on what the property owner is suggesting. It's kind of falls in their court
Yes,
right now.
we need to hear from the property owner.
Right,
Are we going to continue this to the next meeting, or?
that's my suggestion.
Okay, let's have it formally someone make a motion to continue it till the next meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue this Cardinal Estate issue to the next meeting. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, they're not opposed, motion carried.
All right, the next thing I have is the Mary Gibbs regulated drain that goes through Oakdale subdivision.
You all know where this is at?
Want to pull that up?
I'm sure you do.
It's pretty close to, it's on Frozen Corpse Road.
So right now, it is not an issue with cattails, but as you may recall during the discussion of the development of this drain,
Hang on a second, Tiffany. This is 700 North. This is 267. We're talking about this subdivision right here. This is Frozen Corpse Road. Okay, now we know where we're at.
That new area in there, Michael.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the Mary Gibbs runs right through there. It was a pipe and it was designed as a two-stage ditch. Still shows it as a pipe on there. I'm sorry, I don't know why Beacon shows that. That's
GIS, we
it.
haven't had Clint change that, but it's an open ditch now.
So we just wanted to make you guys aware that this is constantly holding water. Main reason is downstream was never cleared when this development went in. And our concerns is that cattails will eventually start to grow in here, which would be a nightmare to deal with. So we're just bringing it to your attention, let you guys know. I don't have a remedy right now because there's not enough money in Northern Acres to clean that ditch and do any work there. I just need to let you guys know ahead of time that this will be an issue.
When we approved Oakdale, I assumed we weren't gonna dig it deeper than our outlet. What happened there?
I don't know.
Really? That's what happened.
We knew that the downstream was not great, but it still flows. That used to be a drop structure right there. Do you remember that, Jack? They took that out, and so now it's just holding water. We were afraid of that, but we were assured it was gonna work.
Isn't this on the developer then to make sure that that works?
Yes. I believe that, but it is in the town of Brownsburg. We don't have a performance bond like we would have it if it was in the county. So I can get with the developer and see what we can do.
Because if they need to clean the south portion of that ditch, that should be on their ticket.
Yes,
I'll do my best.
Certainly think we want resolution sooner than later if there's gonna be a financial consequence to us.
Right.
And if we
Right.
knew that and chose not to act, really shame on us.
Well, we were assured by the engineer, even though the drop structure was gonna be taken out, that it's gonna flow. It's gonna work great. It's a two-stage ditch.
But was it installed to engineers' specs? Probably
Well,
not.
it's in the town of Brownsburg, so
We don't.
we inspect it, but we don't get the as-built. I think that's a Pulte Homes. It was just here for Aspen Trace. And I can,
Well, my experience with when people say it flows, my definition of flowing and theirs is a different issue.
How deep is the water standing?
When I say dirt,
It is on elevation.
it's the wrong elevation.
It is on
Oh, it
elevation.
is on
It
elevation.
is exactly what you guys
Yeah.
approved in the meeting. The issue was downstream. It always was.
How deep is the water typically?
It could be
That
a
I
foot
don't know.
sometimes, but the problem isn't where it's standing there as much as it can't get under the road in Northern Acres. So it backs up all the way in there because the portion between the new subdivision and the bridge is lower than the pipes going under the road, which was why we suggested all that be done as part of the project.
This road?
Yes.
The culvert.
So they met existing elevation. They did do that correctly. The problem is existing elevation is lower than the pipes under the road.
So we need guidance from the board on what you would like us to do, if anything, downstream before the two-stage ditch becomes an issue.
Sounds like we spend money now or we spend more money later.
Is there any,
I just hate to see cattails start growing in that new ditch because that'll just be a nightmare to keep up with.
is there any ARP monies that you folks have on other things that could be moved around?
I
to deal
don't
with this?
believe so,
Sure.
but I will look. I will look into that. I don't believe so, but I'll look.
Maybe talk with Ann and/or Nancy again on if there's any ARP money even left
The
that,
last time I asked on a different project, I was told no.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I know.
but I'll see if we have any that was left over from something else.
Yeah.
Again, it's not Oakdale, it's not the two-stage ditch, it's downstream of that.
Okay, my question is, are you and Dirk, you're gonna handle it, or do we have to have an engineering study on that?
That's kind of Brownsburg.
I think we will have to get with the town, because they've done a lot on 700. It's gonna take some good conversations with the town, and I don't believe we have to have an engineer get involved at
All
this
right.
time. If we do,
Doesn't sound like it.
obviously I'll bring that to you.
Would that interaction be with like Sean, perhaps, maybe?
I don't know that we'll get that high. I'll start out a
Okay,
little bit lower and see where it goes.
all right.
Okay, see what you can work out. Anyone in the audience who have wishes to be heard? Board members, introduction of business by board members.
Well, I'd like to mention the upper arm of the John Green, or the bats on the John Green. It was shovel-ready, and I think it got shut down due to some tree removal issues. And that portion is really, really awful. I mean, people using john boats to get out of their driveway when it rains. That needs to be reopened and get going.
Let's see if we can address that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the board decided not to do anything when we came to you because Bob Barr was going to set up a group. He was actually gonna make a presentation in January and didn't show up. I don't know where that's at.
I think we need to restart.
So,
Yeah, we need to restart.
Because it needs to be dipped, because the John Green, if we do it now, it'll be submerged. So the bots has to be cleaned and dipped before it have an adequate outlet on the green arm. Yeah, so that's fine, we can do it.
Get in touch with Bob Barr, please, and then have him give me a call.
Okay.
That's on the upper end of the bats,
Right?
and we're going to County Road 1000. It outlets underneath that culvert.
Jack, we're actually gonna be bringing quotes to you guys, because we've got some suck holes on the east side of 1000, going through that lady's property. We had to meet with, someone out there to tell us if any of those trees were part of the bat habitat, which we had her come out. That was the whole reason why we couldn't do anything right now on repairing those. I got with Dave on this last week or the week before, and he said since there's no bat habitat out there, we can actually repair those sinkholes. So we are gonna be bringing quotes to replace
Is
that
there any
part.
reason to repair with that tile such bad shape? I mean, what, throwing good money after bad? If we don't have an adequate outlet, there's no reason to, I mean, she can't mow her yard with all those suck holes in there right now.
Yeah, we're gonna replace it through there for right now to get, so that there's
Yeah,
no,
but do you know the elevation?
we have all that because it was engineered.
Did you increase the elevation? If you got a dip?
That was all part of Banning's design. I don't have that in front of me, so I can't tell you right now. But
Seems like doing something in the middle is not ever a good idea.
Well, the decision was, what do we do? Because we were held up and stopped on the bots. And so the board dropped the John Green until we could do the bots. So as an office, we were like, well, we can't do anything. We can at least fix the blowholes unless the drainage board tells us to do something different. So that's where we're at.
Before we do anything, we're too near the end of this meeting. Before we do anything, bring this back at the next meeting.
Okay.
And put this on the agenda so we can discuss this at the next meeting.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other board members? Then the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
They're going to close, meeting is adjourned.
Good meeting, Mr. Chairman.
hey, we're getting those cotton trees removed too. The cotton trees on the Caitlin, they're getting taken out.
The actual right of way from the old.
I'll call the May 13th County Commissioners meeting open. And if you would, stand for pledge to the flag and prayer if you would. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, we thank you this morning for this day. Give us your wisdom and guidance in our meeting. Help us to make good decisions for the people in Hendricks County. Father, we thank you for all of our law enforcement officials that work with us through the Sheriff's Department, but also throughout the county and the police departments as well. Keep them safe, bless them. We thank you for the work they do. Thank you now for this meeting. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our April 22
So moved.
meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the claims that were sent to us.
Move for approval?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business. I will open the meeting to a public hearing for stop signs in Continental Estates. Open that. Anybody have any comments that they would like to make regarding that? If not, we will close that public hearing. All I need to do there, right?
Yeah, if you want me to, I can discuss them, but if you don't have any questions and you're okay with the ordinance, you need to approve the ordinances. It's for 2 stop signs at T intersections that don't currently have any stop control.
Okay. Anybody want any further discussion of that? So we need to approve the ordinance for stop signs. It says on certain county roads, basically Thorncrest, the intersection of Thorncrest Lane at Thorncrest Drive, is kind of the area, right, John?
Hard to know.
I'll move
That's
for
the
approval.
area.
And there's 2 different ordinances, one's for that location and
Oh,
one's
yeah.
for Liberty
I'm
Lane at
sorry.
Continental Road.
I think.
And it's a TBD ordinance numbers. We don't have those assigned
We
yet.
don't have those, right.
Don't have any.
We still have the numbers.
We can approve these together.
Yeah.
Okay. Bob made the motion. Is there a second?
Was that motion for both?
It was.
All right, I will second.
Been moved and seconded to approve these stop signs in Continental Estates. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Cummins Behavioral Health Annual Report. Amy? Good morning.
No, does everyone have this report? If not,
We have a copy of it.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
perfect, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This is a presentation of our annual report for our fiscal year, July 1st, 23 through June 30th of 24. This will show you, this is about 9 pages long, but just to quickly summarize, and for the 12-month period, we served 1,743 people throughout the county. That includes both mental health and substance use services, both youth and adults. It talks about how many actual clinical encounters. We serve 17,300, almost 400 therapy type appointments throughout that 12-month period. It talks about our main referral sources, our largest being self-referrals, secondly followed by child and youth services referrals. There's also some bar graphs that talk about our patient satisfaction surveys, benchmarking Cummins against the other 24 mental health centers in the state of Indiana for both adults and youth. And Cummins scored above the state average in all categories for both adult and youth. Next, we talk about our major sources of payers, and The largest by far, as we look at insurance, would be Medicaid. 88% of the people that we serve have Medicaid in the county. And then we also accept private insurance, self-pay, Medicare, et cetera. We have a listing of our various community meetings we attend and events that we have attended. We list our new programs that we started over the past year, and that includes our 24/7 mobile crisis team that was started. We've always done crisis services, but over the past year, we've actually implemented mobile crisis, where we'll go out into the community to homes or schools or hospitals, wherever the need may be. We list our partnerships, then we move into our addiction services, treating close to 500 people with addiction services. We list our clinical best practices that we use in these services. Then there are some bar graphs talking about our top substances used for adults. That would be marijuana. And that's also the same for youth, but this shows the top 5 in a bar graph form for you. It also lists our services where we are co-located in the schools throughout the county, and there's a listing of those schools. And then it wraps up with, again, the most common diagnosis of persons that we serve. And it's listed there with depression topping the list for adults and ADD for youth. That's a lot of information, but hopefully you had time to read that in advance. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Amy? Amy, as I read through this, number one, I was impressed with all the work you're doing, coordinating with the schools in
Yes.
the county. That's a huge number.
Yes.
And I was also, I took note of, I guess I'll say it that way. I won't say I was impressed, but your counts of patients, the numbers of youth served was dramatic in my opinion.
Yes.
And so.
In totality, for Cummins as a whole, easily 60+% of youth are youth and family services.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. One question I have for you really deals with the bar graph chart that was on your page that you already commented on, that showed 88% of your, I guess I'll say,
Revenue from Medicaid?
revenue is from Medicaid. Any
Yes.
concerns there from the state standpoint?
Yes, well, we are actually very closely monitoring legislation at both a federal and state level with the Medicaid changes that are being discussed. Some have already been obviously signed by the governor, but yes, that is something that we'll be watching. One concern we see and that we'll be ready to help people with is people may be losing insurance. Medicaid used to have an annual redetermination, and now it's going to, I think, quarterly. And so, but what really happens is people drop on and off of Medicaid. But we engage with organizations that help people get back on Medicaid as appropriate.
Okay.
So, yes.
Mr. President?
Sure.
Thank you for what you do.
Sure.
I was looking through the list of the schools. Did Northwest Hendricks, did they not?
We were with Northwest Hendricks, but then we had to stop that. We didn't have space for our private counseling sessions. And so that was something that we weren't able to continue with because of space limitations at the school. Yes.
They were the only one that couldn't do that.
We work a lot with trying to find space in schools. That's not an unusual, but we were just not able.
I'm not pointing any fingers.
Yeah, we were just not able to get the privacy we need for the services that we provide.
Any other questions for Cummins Mental Health Center? Thank you again for the work you do.
Thank you. And just to follow up with that, if any of those children would need services, we could see them in our outpatient office too. So it's not like we couldn't serve those children.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I think you had a board member with you today too.
Yes, Rob Enlow, our Chief Clinical Officer.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Next item on our agenda is Stacy Ware. Hi, Stacy.
How are you guys?
Good, thank you. NDOT.
Yep.
Grant application and authorizing resolution, and just is for me to sign. Your
Yes.
Your name's on Orna, so I'm the one that goes to jail, not you.
Appreciate that, you taking that.
You're
bullet.
welcome. We put his name on all of it.
Go ahead.
It is just, it's time to apply for next year. The 5311 and 5339 grant submission is this Friday. So we just need your blessing and your signature to proceed with the application.
Move to approve with the president signing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
And we will, I'll sign
We'll
it
put
and we'll
Brad's
get it
name on
to
it
you.
next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Mr. Swally, I believe.
I think it's Mr. Park.
No, it's Mr., well, it says Parmalee, but it's probably both of you.
We're both together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Builder's
morning.
risk insurance for the new highway department facility. John Parmalee, do you mind if he stands up here with you?
Sure.
He can,
I'm unoffendable.
He can protect you. All right. I think we have the information and we've seen it. We have that page as well. We've looked at it. Are there any, you want to say anything?
Well, there's just a couple things for me. One is I want to, I give you a spreadsheet of who we went to, who we got official quotes. We had a few other indications. I'm all about rate per 100, right, on the value. Their indications were more, so I just told them, no, send me a formal quote. But so I wanted to make sure we did our due diligence there. On your quote, we have the dates from June 1 through October 1st. Talked to Mr. Zerner. I think that's actually going to be August. Thank you. August. So we would change the date, and so the premium would be less. But I ran off of a 6-1 number, my best ability to read a construction schedule. Not the best.
So at least.
All those change.
So at least the number that we would approve on this is either going to be that number or less.
It would be less.
So,
It would be less.
well, that's to be seen.
Yeah, assuming it is, yeah, that's correct, it's on this. The only decision that I think that needs to be made today, and I will not go through the spreadsheet in depth unless you would like to, are deductibles. And you look at the premium from Travelers, it is the same, but it's a deductible option. So do we want a $5,000 deductible for all losses except wind and hail? And a $50,000 wind and hail deductible, or do we want to go a $25,000 deductible for all lines, including wind and hail? My thought is the 25, because I think the bigger exposure is wind and hail than the smaller losses, but
Question, Mr. President?
that's my thoughts.
Go ahead.
So this is just during the construction phase, right?
Right.
I agree.
Only for quote-unquote
Builder's risk.
Right.
it's builder's risk, yeah.
I think we're in agreement on what your recommendation is there, and that's in the quote.
Correct, that's correct, yeah, it's all in there.
Right.
And the highlighted one, as you go down the middle, that's the one that we recommend. The others have all the, it includes $5 million earthquake and flood coverage, and it's the most comprehensive one, actually, for the least amount of money. That's a win, that's my vote.
So the chair would entertain a motion on builder's risk insurance for the new highway garage.
Approval to use Travelers as suggested with the $25,000 deductible.
Second.
Any other questions for John or Jack? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And then we'll just all kind of work together to start when we need to start. Okay?
Very good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. We're moving ahead, that's good. Okay. Jack, you are up. Dan Moore Real Estate Services Letter of Intent, and remember, folks, that I signed this on April 30th.
Correct.
So we're approving this today in our meeting, even though I signed it because we needed to get this moving.
Yes, and there was a little action on that project yesterday on the appraisals.
Good.
So we get about 2 weeks, we'll get those back to us.
So the chair would entertain a motion to
Do you want us to do ratify your signature?
Ratify my
Yes.
signature,
Yes,
please.
please.
If not, why?
So moved.
Then
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, okay. And next is the quote for services from MCOR on the courthouse. And this is the piping work that was done. And again, I signed this on April 23. So, because we needed to get that work done.
Glad we did get it done, and it's complete, and everything's back up and running correctly.
And just to cover Denny, he signs nothing, well, at least without one of the two of us providing him some cover, so he's not going around
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
issuing contractual.
Right.
Do you require a motion, Mr.
Their
Chairman?
discussion.
Please.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed?
All this work is done and complete, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
And we had a little hiccup, but that's been fixed.
Much better than where we were.
Yes. Okay, Jack. Keep moving.
TK mobilization for the
This is,
elevators.
Dealing with the elevators in this building.
Correct. We have two of them in this building. And also that sort of ties into our fire alarm because we have to upgrade it, but I've got a little challenge with that contract currently. But this would get the process started. There is some pretty sizable downtime to this type of work. And yes, and a little bit of time to get the material. So I'm trying to order the material at the same time, but we'll do one and then we'll go to the other one. So we don't have any delay waiting on material. And it will be inconvenient as normal through the process, but
I'll move for approval.
what's needed.
That's a good price, I think.
And that'll be for both of these contracts, please. Thank you.
Second. I'm not seconding that. I think that's a good price part, though.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the elevator modernizations, TKE proposals. Just so everybody's aware, the number is $292,000, $292,777.04.
Correct.
So, and I think there was a date in here, Jack, as well, that it would be done by December 31st.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
gonna be long.
It takes a while. Once we get this done, we can start, and it will be a process before we're complete.
They both will not be down at the same time.
No, sir.
Got
We'll
it.
have to re-sign for ADA compliance and everything into the building. We've got our challenges to do that, and there'll be people that'll be unhappy, and then we'll make the change, and it'll be.
If they are both down, we're pointing concerned citizens to your office.
That'd be fine, because they've both been down here recently quite a bit. They're getting better, but anyway.
Yeah, and again, it's got president only signature on it,
Yeah,
so.
knock yourself
Okay.
out.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right. Okay, the fire alarm upgrade for this building.
So the fire alarm, current fire alarm system we have, the control center for that, we need to put into the museum because it is it's unique. But to upgrade the elevators, we have to upgrade our fire system to be able to tie to those new elevators because they're at a new code compared to the old code requirements, which will be good because we can't really get parts for our current fire alarm panel anyway. Anytime we have an issue, they go dig a piece out somewhere out of the pile of stuff. So it'll be a benefit in the long run. But currently, on review with Greg, we had some issues with the contract. So I'd like to either approve with Greg doing the review of the contract, or otherwise I have to delay for 2 weeks. I'd like for these to go
I'll move
hand in
approval.
hand.
Pending council's approval.
I made comments and gave them to you as well as Jack, and we're waiting for a response back from them.
Yeah, you commented.
I reached out to Corson and they couldn't get it done in time, so.
Okay.
If they'll make those, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
All right, been moved and seconded again for me to sign this as well. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, sewer services agreement for the new highway department facility.
Correct. This is the agreement with the town of Danville and WDDC and Hendricks County. We do have a little bit of challenges on some of the verbiage that Greg would like to have addressed, and we would too. We have the same concerns that Greg does. Not sure how our success rate's going to be for that exact verbiage, but we're going to try.
Let's find out.
So here again, like to get approval to move forward with Greg's review.
So that's version 2, as it's called, is that right?
Yes.
So we need to, if we approve this, we need to approve version 2.
Will actually be version 3.
Yes, it's been very complicated. We'd probably been better if we had if we would have made this agreement, we might have been able to achieve better than what we have. We have our challenges with replies and everything else that we've been working with. Version 2 didn't have the signatures right. Version 1 didn't have the signatures right. Version 2 didn't have the signatures right. And we had the one verbiage that we wanted to change to make sure that the system met our date. And that's the biggest hiccup that we have.
I feel like we need a little bit more of a commitment that it'll be ready by July of 26 than the way it's worded.
I see.
So one question with regard to that, we're gonna give you WCCD $200,000 more or less.
Right.
Are they gonna charge us a tap fee when we negotiate that? As part of the
Extend the
two?
line to the location, but the tap fees will be on top of that. Right. They've estimated those for us, it's about 50.
How much?
$1.
$1,000? So why wouldn't we just tell them to waive those if we're gonna write them a check for $200,000? Did they say no?
Because that's not on the table with that.
And currently,
Did
we're
we try?
It was mentioned.
Currently, we're under budget if we go this route also, and we have the longevity of normal sewer rather than some of the other complications with the septic system and the longevity, so.
Oh, you want the sewer?
Correct.
Yeah.
Commissioner, the other factor there is the initial contribution that's in this agreement is substantially less than what we originally talked about.
Correct.
Substantially.
Yes.
To John's point, I was gonna remind you that the budget for the mound system was gonna be $350,000.
So originally we were at 3. You still have a connection fee on top of this too. That just gets it to the property.
That gets to the property, gives us a place to make the tap, and in the future, if we develop the other section, we would have a tap fee for it too, but we would have an outlet available.
But John just said it's gonna be $15,000.
Correct.
Plus, that was the estimate.
Mr. President?
Your angst.
Well, I thought it was determined, so we're not able to hook on to Danville?
No, they can't serve that without crossing 36 on the railroad tracks. And so they're ceding this area to WCCD, and that's part of the negotiation.
And I'm thankful that we've been able to work out something, an agreement that will get that sewer to us. I'm just disappointed that they're gonna want a tap fee too.
We started this quite a ways back
Line extension.
on the discussion and everything. At first, we didn't think we were going to even get their interest, and then they came back with the interest of getting that area under their control.
I share
Not
Mr.
us, it's the.
I share Mr. Wicker's anxiety with that, that's.
Yeah. But it's far superior than a mound system regardless of cost.
And WCCD has pretty specific language. Like Jack said, maybe if we'd have taken a lead on developing the agreement, it might have been different. But Danville initially took the lead on developing the agreement, and WCCD pretty much scrapped that one, said, no, this is what we want. I think that's what would have happened with us.
Right.
I'm in agreement once you get the final legal document hammered out with.
Great.
So that's a motion.
That was.
And it's been seconded. Yes. So we'll call that version 3, I guess. All right.
Yes.
Any other comments or discussion for Jack on this or John? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's been difficult.
Oh, yes.
Appreciate it.
Oh, next was the extortion.
All right. Mr. Ayers, the CSX transportation additional fees for Ronald Reagan Parkway. And again, this is for me to sign.
Yeah, this, and Brad's right, this is extortion. The initial, anytime we do something on the railroad, we have several upfront agreements, one for review of the plans, and then they also charge us for flagging time. And that varies a lot. They charge that based on an estimated number of days, an estimated amount of those days that are gonna require, they have to flag the tracks if we're within so many feet, which isn't every day of the project, but it'll vary.
They have somebody standing out there with a flag.
No, they're sitting in a truck, sometimes several miles away, but we have to pay for them anyway. So they estimate the number of working days. This project, there was an initial number of days, probably when we made the agreement with them originally, and then when it went to contract, the construction period got extended. And plus the number of days they've needed to be on site apparently is more, so they have increased the estimated number of days to complete from 200 days to 260 days. Also, they've increased their contracted administrative engineering services. The explanation for that was they had to be out there more times than they thought to analyze conflicts and analyze things we were doing near the tracks. CSX is always painfully vague on these things. When the project's over, sometimes we get an accounting of their hours, sometimes we don't. They're my favorite payee. But we don't really have a lot of options.
No, we don't.
Just for the record, we're gonna end up paying them $612,076 for them to oversee our construction of a bridge across
The
there.
privilege of crossing their tracks.
Yep.
And we have no choice.
Nope.
We have no. Nice.
The increase is $135,108.
25%.
The chair would
Move for
enter,
approval.
it's been moved.
Second.
It's been seconded with hesitation. And I would add, then under discussion, maybe we just wait until it's all over and then we'll pay them this amount.
They would pull the flaggers
Yeah.
tomorrow, and then we would do nothing.
All those
I
in-
sense that's a profit center
All
for them.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed.
And they pretty much told me that if we don't get this processed in a timely fashion, we will pull our flaggers.
That didn't mean we had to stop construction.
The fines are gonna be a lot more than this.
I was gonna say, would that stop the construction?
Let's not find out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to,
Okay.
but.
All right.
Okay. Next item I have is inspection contracts for two more federal aid bridges. This is for Bridge 136 and Bridge 189. These are scheduled for letting later this year. You previously approved inspection contracts for Clark Dietz for two others. These contracts are with USI Consultants. We've reached an agreement with them on fees and recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, $389,900. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? A lot of paperwork.
Yeah, that's thick.
Good night.
And 80% of that is paid by federal. We only pay
Okay.
20%.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, John, now we are, we're still with you.
Yep.
Proposed speed limit ordinances for Cartersburg and County Road 901E.
Right, these are two separate ordinances. One is for County Road 901E and actually Sunset Lane, which is up by Brownsburg, extending south to 56th Street. The other ordinance is for pretty much all the local streets in the town of Cartersburg, as it says on my ordinance here. So,
Ours says Cartersburg.
okay, so yours is correct.
Yeah. And just FYI, the locations up in the Brownsburg area, 35-mile-an-hour limit on one and 20-mile-an-hour limit on the other. The Cartersburg limits are all 20 miles per hour. Chair would entertain a motion to.
We're setting a hearing date for this.
Oh, we're setting a hearing date. We're not approving it yet. Okay. We're approving the hearing date, to set a hearing date.
Which would be,
Are you okay with June 10th?
June what?
June 10th.
June 10th. Okay. It's been moved. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Thank you. All right, our next item is from the Sheriff's Department.
Actually,
And that was given to us. It's to approve a contract with a retired employee who has done work in the sheriff's office on vehicles, and to enter into a contract during his post-retirement to continue that same work. Are we okay with that?
I am.
I am too.
Move for approval.
Been moved
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation that we have all signed, and this is in regard to Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week. And I won't read the whole proclamation, but it's basically proclamation, Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week. In two areas of it that I will read. Whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including all the dedicated Hendricks County Sheriff's Office deputies. And then further down, it says, now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the Board of Commissioners of the County of Hendricks, Indiana, do hereby name May the 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and call upon all citizens to honor those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And so we also proclaim that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Hendricks do hereby name the week of May 11 through 17, 2025 as National Police Week. Witness hereof, Dennis Dawes, Bob Gentry, and Brad Wicker have signed this on the 13th day of May, 2025. Thank you. And should we present it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for all that you folks do.
Sure. We appreciate all the support you guys give us.
Thank you. As we saw recently, you're always in the line of fire.
Never know.
And we appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Sturwald, we have a purchase of land by Hendricks Power.
Yeah, this is the parcel of ground that was down by 3970. That was dedicated to the county years ago that we didn't have a use for, so we advertised. We tried a new online service that may not be as impressed with us as we hoped for, but
it worked.
Yeah, it did. Hendricks Power was the purchaser. The title company would like to have a signed purchase agreement for the closing, and that's what you have before you here.
And again, that's for me to sign.
Yeah, move for approval for Denny to execute the purchase agreement on behalf of the county.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay.
I like staying out of line of
Thank
fire.
you, Hendricks Power. Saw Greg earlier, there he is.
Thank you.
Thank you, you bet. We'll get that signed document to you. Okay, comments from the floor. I know we have two people here that want to make some comments. Anybody else here that would like to make a comment? Okay, we have the fairgrounds folks with us, Dave Wyeth and Tim Wicker, to make a presentation to us. And it looks like a substantial presentation.
Well, good morning,
We'll try to
Commissioners.
make it somewhat easy.
That's fine.
You all know me pretty well, and this is Tim Wicker. Tim is our chairman of the Operations Committee, and
We've never met him.
we've never seen this guy before. His father, I think, set up here at one point in time many years ago,
That's
but
true.
anyway, I want to just open up to make some clarification real quick, and Jack is going to help me possibly to fill in some gaps because there's been some confusion with the project that we're about to present, plus what you folks are trying to do as well with the East Campus and the community building. Trying to find some storage, if you recall, for voter registration. After elections last year and everything with all the early voting, this building was constantly busy as many employees had challenges trying to find places to park and trying to work. I talked with DJ about moving some stuff possibly out to the fairgrounds. DJ did some looking and checking, and Greg, you and I had conversations at Nancy's retirement party if there needed to be some legislation. And we found out that you, as the executives, can make that decision, and I think you sort of basically gave the blessing to go out to the fairgrounds for early voting in the future. And so, meantime, DJ and I was having this discussion, and she was talking about a new building. Tim and our committee was talking about a new building. They were two totally separate buildings. The confusion was even with myself, with DJ knowing what we were trying to do, but not knowing what we were doing. And DJ knew what she was doing with Jack Swally, and I didn't know what she was doing with Jack Swally and the commissioners. So there are two building projects. You all are about to approve one, I think, at some point in time, based off the council gives you the money to do so. Jack is working on that to find a place to get our voting machines into, to get out of the East Campus building, and what the future plans of that is. So that's one project. The other project is something that we started working on about a year ago. And with some of the demands that we're seeing at the fairgrounds and all the action and everything that's happening, we started the process and we went into August, Tim? Probably see it.
Yep.
And we had many different people come in from different groups. The town of Danville was part of it, the sheriff's department was part of it. There were probably 10 different groups.
Yeah, easily.
10 different
rental,
groups.
rental groups who are out there, obviously the 4-H community, but anybody that uses the fairgrounds are exposed to it. So we reached out to all of them.
All the different vendors and such, and we all know there's some traffic issues, so we're trying to look at that as well. And obviously here in the town of Danville, that's a big problem. So anyway, just to clarify, we have two different projects. You guys have one, we have another one, and this is the one that we're going to propose to you to look at. So with that, Tim, I'll turn it over to you.
If you want clarity on where the one's at, that's this building right, fit right here.
Right.
This is the existing storage, big storage building. There's a little storage building here. And the thoughts, I think, is to fill this gap in right here, Jack, and the voting machines would go in this original short, it's got like a 8-foot, 9-foot ceiling in it.
It's already there.
It's already there. Both of these are there. The thoughts would be to fill this in and then.
On the west edge.
Currently, I have bids on making this building compliant from what DJ needs to move her stuff in there. And then I've got quotes to do this expansion. Through this expansion too, we hope to pick up a little bit of extra storage area with that expansion, and then it will work for everybody.
And that's okay with the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
The good thing is this.
It's a great partnership.
This building makes it nice because this building can be locked by itself. And then the additional, add on to this, we swap some of that space out, but this building can then be locked completely with the machines.
Met with DJ, she's good with the move, the location's big enough, I've got the improvements that need to be done to the building in line. We're just waiting till after the fair.
Yep.
And then get in there and get that work done.
Good.
Thank you.
So then, there you go. So then what Dave was talking about, obviously if you're out at the fairgrounds, it's busy all the time, and even like voting, it's voting makes it really difficult for us because we're obviously turning down rentals and getting that stuff. So as we've been looking at this, we decided to engage CSL as a group who does studies. That we did some background. They've done a lot of fairgrounds and buildings like that. So we had them do a comprehensive kind of a master planning review of the whole fairgrounds, and they came back with a bunch of recommendations, partly to upgrade facilities out at the fair, at the horse arena and that. But the biggest thing we kept talking about was expo/meeting space. Concrete space with condition and that. So we did a lot, and Dave's got a copy of the studies for you guys there. I got 131 pages if you want the whole thing. I'd be happy to let you have.
This is the condensed version.
But there's all kinds of data in there talking about how full we are and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, we ended up, they came back with some recommendations. We ended up working with Art Design, Banning, and Rigdon Construction to try to help us put what that might look together from their recommendations. And what we've come up with right now, and we've got drawings as well, but here's kind of a 3D map that Art Design put together with Banning. is adding on to the existing Hendricks Power Expo Hall right here, adding on to it where this can be divided up into 2 different spaces, let alone, and making it, it's about 40,000 square foot with meeting space, offices and restrooms in this building here, which would be more conducive to that because it's not there. So, and then obviously expanded parking. This is 445 spaces. The current parking up front's 225. And like we had to turn away Tri-West Prom last week because for next year, Dancing with the Stars is in there, the prom's there, and you don't want either one of those having to use gravel parking lots, so we just decided for those nights of events, we don't need to do that. But this building, we would have this building filled up almost immediately every weekend for sure. We've got a lot of people who want more space. We've probably got 6 to 10 things that go on the fairgrounds right now that would use all the space. We probably turn down one a month that can't, we're just not big enough for them. But again, we turn down tons that just need a space, any one of the current 2 spaces, so that third. So it, and obviously it's bringing more tourism, bringing more of that into, and then the creek's right here, so this would expand the promenade on the other side to then allow more events just on the other side of the creek. So now we can have additional events out here as well and bring more people into the fairground. So that's kind of a high level view of what's going on and where we've been. We've got some cost estimates and they're included from Rigdon. Rigdon kind of did that. They did a really nice job on that. And I got a copy of those if you guys want one, those budgets for that.
Mr. President, if I might, as your designee to the Fair Board and the voting member of the Ops Board, this is a good project. And Tim laid out for me exactly. Going forward, I think at the very least, and it's going to be up to the council how we get the funding, but at the very least, we need to do the design. Get the design laid out and get that set up. There's significant expense there, and then we can move forward as the council, incrementally, funds it. But it's a good project, and I support it completely.
And the yellow highlighted on there is the number they came up, I don't even remember what it was, to do all the design, get it ready for bidding. Because obviously we wanted to build this between fairs. And if we can time it right, we can get the steel ordered, get all that stuff ready, we should be able to build this between fairgrounds. It's still mostly a major.
Number in yellow?
Yes, that would be to do the design, everything ready to bid the project. And that's the numbers we got from Mark and
Bob, to your question, I think in 2 years, the bonds on the current fairgrounds we paid for, we do have the option to forward pay that if we want to, prepay it.
Well,
if we so choose.
that's a council question to me. It's just, but I support the project.
Right.
And Brad, you've seen what food and beverage does and innkeepers has done over the years as you've served on the council. So this is probably something else that's going to continue to add to our food and beverage as well as innkeepers at some point in time, over time. So just to be cognizant of that.
The Capital Improvement Board has had this discussion.
That's right.
We have it earmarked.
And that's why I wanted to bring this, Brad, is because you're a guy that you understand this. And as I shared with the group, we actually had a building a little bit smaller that was sort of looked at. And I shared with the group, I said, look, let's look at the footprint because all 3 of you understand footprint. You can't build a X amount of house on a 1/10 of an acre. You know what it's like to build a hospital. Bob, you know what it's like to build a barn somewhere. This is the same thing because we have a limited access to the north with that creek that goes across.
Kind of a creek.
Yeah,
But
it's an open
still
ditch
what it
sort
is.
of. And as I told the group, I said, let's plan big because let's maximize that footprint because we'll never be back to build onto anything else. Let's make sure we're thinking big to maximize what we're doing.
Oh, you'll be back, but it'll be 20 more years.
Oh, yeah, or it'll be somewhere else on the
25 years.
ground.
And this is our 20th fair, so it's right at.
Mr. President, Tim, didn't we determine that it's not a legal drain that goes through there, is it?
We're not the drainage board this morning.
Yeah, it's not illegal, but it's governed, it's open and
it functions, but it's not a court drain.
Correct, right.
Yes, and that makes a lot of difference.
But they did a good job. There's a better drawing behind here of that layout, how they worked around that, and I think it'll work well, give or take, so.
And David, I think we have a capital improvement meeting
Coming
will
up.
meet up. I think we just further this discussion there.
That's correct,
I liked
Brad.
your suggestion with the bonds coming off, so it wouldn't necessarily be, I mean, you're adding gross, the total amount of debt, but the service is probably more constant than it would.
That's sort of the plan. And that's why we wanted to bring that to you today, because there was some confusion with the two projects happening.
I thought I had it right,
So there was a little confusion, so we got that cleared up, so everybody's on the same page.
One for voter registration is really pretty insignificant.
But this also gave an opportunity, and this is a great 3D drawing, and that we're working, and as we did with the jail or any other project, you know, it's good to have all this stuff in front of us, so then that way when we're ready to move forward, then we can start moving forward.
We've been working with Visit Hendricks as well, just trying to understand all that, how that all ties together.
Yeah, Jamie's been a big part of this in the very beginning as well, from Visitor Hendricks County, so.
I think our capital probably just needs to work it backwards.
Yes, sir.
And understand what kind of timeline so that we can
Yeah.
give you some
Yep.
guidance to get Banning and Art engaged and not get them engaged prematurely. But at the same time, is it 24 months, 36 months?
Exactly. You know, time in between the
He's
fairs
back
and
there
such.
listening, so.
No doubt.
He can draw fast.
And we got a pretty good guy here that's familiar with some stuff on building projects with his own little business.
We need to let the building corporation know.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
So.
Any other questions to Dave or
say.
Tim? Thank you for
Appreciate you.
serving on the fair board and the work you're doing.
And we're bringing Bob along too, so Bob's trying to catch up a little bit here.
Bob's there, so, yeah.
We got high hopes for Bob.
This is, to me, this is looking ahead at the future, but taking care of things now as well.
Yeah.
And as you're right, I'm sure you're turning things away.
Every day,
all the time.
And
So,
Denny, one of the things that I have a problem with as a capital kind of guy, I look at this and I think, what's the return of investment gonna be? But I can't look at it that way, and you can't look at it that way. We gotta look at this as a community project.
It's an investment.
It's an investment we put back in the community, and Tim's on the foundation board, so we see that annual report that comes back through the community foundation. As our people are gonna continue to want more things, and part of the studies that they did here, amazing how much traffic flow people will travel within an hour's drive. So if we have more projects going on at this fairgrounds, we're gonna continue to get more people to come into Hendricks County, spend money, get meal, maybe stay the night, maybe even decide to be a resident at some point in time. So it's a great community project. I really believe that.
So part of the initial planning, did they spend much time on the existing expo hall, and is there a need for updates?
So in
the existing.
that budget, we added a line item at the bottom to update stuff in the fairgrounds too. Part of that's AV, and we upgraded all the sound system last year. We had a lot, we're working on speakers too, but all like the audio and visual on that, it all needs upgraded. Most of it's 20 years old or 15 years old. So we've added a line in there, and Bob and I talked about that. We obviously need to keep the existing fairgrounds looking nice as well. So we put some budget numbers in there to help do some improvements out there to make sure, just because we got a brand new building here, let's make sure the rest of it's still in top-notch shape too.
So the divider wall that's there in the main building.
That's an issue.
Okay.
The north-
So
this north-south wall
it's
here.
at a 20-year life. And for us to replace that, it's a little over 100.
Yeah.
Just a little over 100 grand. So then you start to think, how important is that, and how do you play that in, and how does that fit into this and such. So there are just some things you gotta really think about, and we all know that you get 20, 25 years of life on something, and it's starting to be, unfortunately, that's the life.
Thank you.
Good update. Thank you.
And-
Appreciate it. Yep.
And Tim, I would congratulate you and your business.
Thank you.
If people don't know, in the Indianapolis Business Journal, he's the owner and CEO.
Not anymore.
I don't know about that, but anyway, one of the fastest-growing companies in the state of Indiana.
Yep.
So,
Thank you, Dave.
With a great culture and
Thank you.
yeah.
he's
So,
done good stuff.
Tim and I are classmates, graduated in the same class. I just have always looked up to Tim.
No comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not touching that.
No. Elected officials, any elected officials out there that want to take a minute? Seeing none. Staff reports. John Ayers.
Yes, sir. My staff report, first 5 items or so we've already talked about. Item 6, just a reminder, we have a public meeting Thursday night for residents on 1000 North. Talk about the project up there and the right-of-way taking. I sent you a summary of the conversation I had yesterday with the concerned property owner up there.
I'm sure he'll be there.
Yes, I'm sure he will. Item 7, I had a staff level meeting with Whitestown, Zionsville, and Boone County last week to talk about the future of the parkway as it goes north into Boone County. They're starting to talk about it again up there. Zionsville seems, anyway, it's between the two towns. The entire route in Boone County, none of it's in the county. So it goes Whitestown, Zionsville, Whitestown, Zionsville. So they have to agree on things like sewer service territory and how they're gonna fund their share, but they seem to be talking. I mainly was just there to, obviously we don't have any control over what happens up there, but I was there to lend insight on what we've done and where we are with our project, where we meet the county line, where we have right of way all the way up to the county line at the alignment that's been previously approved by all our environmental studies. So, I mean, we're ready to go where the phase 1B stops at 1000 North because there is no road at county line. And then when they do something up there, then we can extend up. But we have all the right of way and all the environmental stuff done up to the county line, so it's up to them. They're discussing some modifications to the alignment that was previously approved, so that'll require some amendments to the approved environmental studies. But it's still doable. So anyway, at the staff level anyway, they're talking about it at political levels where it's really important, and that's what's going to make it happen. So if you have the opportunity in your political contacts up there, it doesn't hurt to encourage them or lend some insight or just my thoughts.
I certainly will. I'm sure the others possibly have contacts up there as well, but I see at least one of the commissioners once a month, so.
One of the Boone County Commissioners?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the newly elected officials, commissioners contacted me a number of times, not regarding that. John, could you, if I might, Mr. President?
Sure.
Could you explain the relinquishment part?
So one of the options would be, if you recall, state has been relinquishing portions of 267. We've gone through 3 different agreements. So right now, the only portion in Hendricks County that's still state road is from 700 North up. And everything else is locally controlled south of that. So from 700 North up to 65, in Boone County, 267 is still a state road. And so the state would still like to get rid of that in its entirety. And so they have mentioned it in conversations to the county and town folks up there to relinquish that to them. And the way that works in the past, the agreements we've had, they put money on the table based on what they have programmed for improvements and maintenance on that road for like a 10-year time period. And so some of the discussion with the NDOT, or the discussion in that meeting was maybe take the proceeds from that and apply it to the parkway in Boone County. Now, I don't think the state would want to relinquish just the part of Boone County. I think they'd want it in Hendricks also, so we would have to be on board with that as well.
And how many, would it just be the Boone County Commissioners and us?
It's whoever the jurisdiction is, and so I'm not sure if 267, some of 267 may be in the county jurisdiction up there, and not just the towns, I'm not sure. So it's whoever's jurisdiction it's in, and that's what we had to do here. It was us, Brownsburg, Avon, Plainfield. So it would be the same way up there, but we would be at the table, because I think NDOT would want that relinquished all the way up. They just want to get rid of it.
But you said, in your statement here, you said that Whitestown might want to change the alignment.
They're talking about a slightly different alignment than what originally was approved. Yes.
That caused a problem.
Well, they would have to go back and amend the environmental studies, the environmental assessments.
But that would be in Boone County, I assume, not Hendricks County.
Right, it would just delay the project up there, or it could, depending on how quickly they wanted to move. So the real key is going to be getting the towns to agree on a because they're going to have to agree to move it forward because of the way it's hopscotch. Right. So they're going to have a joint effort to move it forward, and funding is the biggest part of that, obviously. So, no, I mentioned the relinquishment as a possibility for some funding, and we talked about our experience with the relinquishment agreements here, and obviously that's not enough to pay for the parkway, but it could help if they could get it applied.
Yes, it's worked well for him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
And then I had 4 more items real quick that didn't make it on my memo, sorry. We had put out an RFP for small structure inspections. That's everything smaller than 20-foot span. Those were due yesterday, and we got 6 proposals. So we'll be reviewing those and bring back to you. Mentioned discussion with property owners on 1,000. The signal down at County Line and Old 267 is almost complete. We're doing guardrail today. And then tomorrow morning, we have another court hearing with the property owner at 1,000 North and 650 related to that drainage project. So we have a hearing tomorrow in the courthouse here about that.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you.
Todd?
My items don't require any action by you. I'll be happy to discuss any of them if you so desire.
Will 4 and 6 or 4 and, let's see, 4, we'll just wait to hear back on that, but yeah. Glad that's moving ahead for the sake of the county. You have no idea what I'm talking about, but we do, so that's why. Any questions for Todd?
No.
Okay. Doug? Questions for Doug, anybody? I'll just make a comment that Doug has been informing everybody about the IT ticket software system. So just everybody be aware of that it's coming. The release is May 19th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
So hang in there, everybody.
This morning, and then, so hopefully we'll get buy-in from our end users to use it.
Yeah.
But the system's very easy anyway. It just helps us build a history and metrics, stuff like that. So far, so good.
Good.
Pretty impressed with it.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Mr. Swally, again.
You have my report. If you have any questions, be more than happy to answer them. Most of our projects are moving forward.
Looks like our parks folks at least have kind of a smile on their face. They're getting closer to being able to move into new locations.
I think we have his facility pretty much done to where it would accommodate his use. So we're done with that. And we're moving forward. We're moving stuff out of the old storage building. Started yesterday, so we're starting that process.
So we'll be able to tear that down soon.
That is my hope.
Define soon. I mean, I don't define.
2-3 weeks?
I think we'll be in the fall, but
Okay.
we are working to accomplish that.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. County Attorney, thank you for what you do.
Yes.
At the state level and the local level. Thanks. Commissioners, anything from anybody?
No.
In our, we get a monthly report thing from the Association of Indiana Counties, and in the, it's called Indiana News, but in the latest thing we got, there was a comment in it from the Executive Director of AIC, says in U.S. News and World Report, that reports on over 3,000 counties in the United States. Indiana had 7 in the top 500, hang on, healthiest counties in the country. And those 7 in Indiana are Hamilton, Boone, Hancock, Hendricks County, Warwick County, Johnson County, and Du Bois County. So we made that list as one of the healthiest counties in not only Indiana, but the United States. Now, I hope you can all say you agree with that. And if you don't, then work on it. All right. The other thing, the three of us have a meeting coming up the end of the month with the HRH board. So if you have items you'd like them to cover with us, let me know and we can communicate that to them. And then May the 19th, we're taking a trip to Jackson County to look at one of their facilities. We told everybody that we're leaving at 10 a.m., but that time has been changed. We're leaving on May the 19th at 9 a.m. So all of you that are planning to go to that, and if you're listening or here, we're gonna leave from here, parking lot here at 9 a.m. on May the 19th. North lot, that way. Anything else to come before us? I would take a move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Termination of quorum, we certainly have that. Approval of the minutes from the April 8th meeting.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval of minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're gonna move on to Aqua, Indiana report.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Only comment I add to my written report is that we've started getting active on the shut-offs. We haven't done any shut-offs, but we've sent out, I've done quite a few door hangers in the last couple of months, or last couple of weeks, and it's getting response and, you know, getting people to make arrangements, things like that. So we'll stay active on that and try and get our bad debt numbers looking a little bit better.
All right. Anything else? American Structure Report.
Yeah, nothing besides what's in the written report there. I believe we have 3 projects that are actively under inspection, few plan reviews that we're going through. But besides that, just business as usual.
All right. Who wants to update us on exit 59, I-70, 39? Should I look to my right or look?
Both. Both. We had the hearing on the May 1st. I'll let you give the update on that.
Well, Monrovia testified they're willing to expand. They don't want us to build, and they will accommodate all of our needs, and they're capable of doing it.
And
We countered saying we've been depending on this for 5 years, and they've not done it. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. Forget the permitter.
When would we expect a ruling on that?
So let me give you the dates here. We have till May 23rd to provide a proposed order. The town of Monrovia and the OUCC have till June 6th to provide their proposed order. And then Aqua HCWW will have till June 16th to provide a final brief. And then their guesstimate is they won't have a decision until end of July or first part of August. So,
and that ruling's pretty final.
It's fine. We either get the permit or we don't.
So then, on top of that, what I passed out to you there, and I gave you a report in my commissioner's report, and I attached those as digital files, but I printed them off as well. Monrovia has submitted an ordinance to the IURC to claim all territory in Morgan County within 4 miles of their town limit as their sewer territory. So that has been, and that's, like, you've got a copy of the.
And that puts them into Hendricks County then?
No, I think it just applies to Morgan County, but it puts them all the way up to the line.
Okay.
And out east and west. So that has been submitted. What you've got has been submitted to the IURC. Again, whole different beast, but
Obviously,
they're.
No, you're fine.
we haven't read this, but do they say in here, in writing, that they're gonna provide?
No, they're just claiming the territory. It's
So
a
they haven't-
protectionist
They haven't
move.
put in writing what you said earlier then, other than they made those comments?
No, that's
They were there. They testified.
And it's their testimony then at the meeting.
These are two separate deals.
Right.
You know, so yeah, it's in writing what they submitted and put into the IURC, but this is a whole separate beast. And what they're wanting to do is, my guess is if they lose at the IURC and we're allowed to build the plant, they're trying to use this to block the ability of that large user to come in there in that space that they've already provided zoning for. Yeah.
Data center.
That's, I think all of this revolves around.
Who's gonna provide the sewer if Monrovia doesn't?
it'll kill the project. If that goes through.
Well,
Because
I think-
Monrovia has already said, no, we're not gonna supply it, and they came to us.
Well, the data center came to us. Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, does the IURC know that?
Yeah, they should.
Better make sure they do.
That's kind of what my thing has been all along, is we need to get as far up the ladder as Braun knowed as what whoever.
Anyway, I think I know some of these people pretty well from Monrovia. I want us to be able to do it. If we don't, then they do it. But do it.
That's the problem, is how do you?
Yes.
Our agreement is always anticipated.
It's a temporary setup.
It's temporary. Our agreement is very informal. I'm not sure, aside from everything else, if we're denied, we need a new agreement.
Well, and that's been my point all along, is we just updated that agreement. Aren't they in breach if they won't allow us
Probably no callback of any kind.
to switch off?
It was more like an MOU, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just pretty, it was very informal.
Jim,
It was
can
thick and formal.
you provide Greg any copies you've got of all of that and
Of
that way he can-
our contracts?
of the
Sure.
contracts or MOUs or whatever they are?
Yeah, no, yeah.
So that he can review
Absolutely.
them and, yeah. Okay. And then, would Greg be the one to let the IURC know of the data centers asking us if we can provide them service? And are saying, yeah, if we can build it,
Well,
we'll
I
provide
think,
it.
through testimony, Monrovia has brought that up.
Why, I understand,
But yeah, I don't see why we couldn't
yeah,
verify
let's
that.
make sure we let them
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
But again,
Oh, good.
and here's the other part too, is if, you know,
I thought you were playing.
I hate to see that data center not come.
Yeah.
But from the district standpoint, we want to be able to build the plant
Yes.
first, okay? I don't care what happens with the data center, you know what I mean?
A lot of stuff
But-
down there.
But yes,
This is to our point. If we don't get it, Monrovia controls all development down
yeah,
there. And we can give biggest, best 500 jobs down there.
Yeah.
And
We're at
Monrovia
their
says,
mercy.
yeah, Monrovia says, I don't think so.
That's
Make a note of that argument.
Well,
Anything else, Jim?
nope.
All right, financial statement status.
Sorry.
Do you have any comments on money?
No, go ahead.
That's just more for our
I'll come
reference.
back up later.
Claims approval of payments.
Mr. President, $12,310.71 to the town of Monrovia, Aqua, Indiana, $1,530.42, Hendricks Power, $998.72, IUPPS, $52.25, Stillwell Witham and Young's, $540, move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Did we leave the bottom two off for a reason?
Pardon? Did I miss some?
Yeah, structure point and structure point.
Hang on.
Sorry, guys.
Sometimes these checks
No,
get
that's
stuck
fine.
together.
Or were they not checks for them? I was looking at the sheet here.
Well, that's happened before.
Oh, those checks get cut later.
Oh, you know what? That was my fault. I always leave because Structure Point always sends me their invoices late and they didn't. My bad. Officially, for the record, scratch those off of there.
Oh, all right.
We did not.
You got it right, Mr. Gentry.
Yes, you're correct. That was my fault.
All right. We moved through financial statement, claims. We are to wishes to be heard, and I believe there's a lady back there that might want to have a discussion with us.
Yeah.
If you would step up and state your name and address for us and.
My name is Jessica Grossman. I live at 10974 Gulfview Drive. Indianapolis is the address, but we're in Hendricks County. So we're a part of the Gulfview Lakeland Manor Regional Sewer Project. And I've actually been wanting to come to a meeting for a couple of months, but I'm a little busy. Honestly, and like I know you guys have a lot going on. I also have a lot going on. We're in the middle of planning our daughter's wedding. I've got these two little ones. My husband works full time. So we've got, I mean, just to say I've made an effort to be here because this is something that has continued to be an issue with residents in our neighborhood. I know that I've reached out to you a couple of times. And so I'm a little bit scatterbrained trying to figure out what honestly is the most important issue at this point. I mean, it started out with massive miscommunication. You know, we were expected, or you know, we have to put in $10,000 to be a part of the regional sewer hookup. We weren't given personally, we weren't given the information until less than 2 weeks before the deadline because they apparently just didn't have our contact information. I don't know, it's all, and I mean, you guys know what you pay for Beacon, right? For your county GIS. Your subcontractors for the county should be able to use that to get the information to contact residents that live in any designated project area. But that seems to have not been the case because we've had miscommunication. And it's not just me, it's been other residents in our community. And they've offered to come to meetings too, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna come march in here with like an army of residents. That just seems a little excessive. But one thing that just keeps coming up that we've had an issue with, I mean, the majority of it, I mean, there is a lot of miscommunication, but 317 is the subcontracted plumbing company that's doing the work. And we have just had issue after issue after issue with them. Us personally, other residents in the neighborhood. We had our grinder pump put in January. We were told that early 2025 they would come out and regrade and reseed and fix everything up. And we've been pushed off and pushed off. The last time that we asked for an update, we were told to contact somebody from Structure Point, who is the project manager. And then in an email after that, we were told to contact 317 Plumber. And then right after that, we were told to cease all communication and stop reaching out to anyone because any follow-up was just going to make the process harder because then they would have to come back and give us updates. Well, you know, here we are. We can't mow part of our lawn. They ran into our fence and have covered off part of our gate to our backyard so that we can't use it. We have no actual like end in sight. We keep getting different dates like, well, it'll be early 2025. Now, well, we're not contractually required to do this until July 2nd. So I don't know if I need to be asking, like, are we entitled to see the contract between 317 Plumber and the county that shows what they are and are not allowed to do on our property? Because we don't actually have a contract. All we have is an easement agreement that says that if we are participating in the project, you're allowed to come and do the work. Aside from that, we really don't have anything in writing. So we have an entire neighborhood of residents who are all very confused and very frustrated because, you know, we've got somebody out there with a tractor grading his own lawn. And I'm like, I don't know that we're even supposed to be messing with this stuff because this is a grinder that was installed by a plumbing company as part of this project. If somebody hits it in my yard, I know good and well that the plumbing company is not going to come out and fix it for free. It's going to be on me. So we're just kind of like all out here and just a little bit frustrated. So I guess there's kind of an overview of why I'm here, what we're dealing with. Again, I don't know if I should just request to see that contract. I mean, that's something that 317 Plumber has kind of thrown back at us several times, is I can do it because it's in my contract, but it's my property. And I don't know what that contract states and how that, like, I used to work in local government. I understand. I used to write grants. I used to write these grants, just in northern Indiana. So I understand how it all works. I know there's a lot of moving pieces. But being on this side of it has just been a little, yeah.
No,
So-
I was basically on the comment. So, and I'm relatively new. So who paid for this and was there easements granted for are they E1 systems, Jim?
Well, I think, yes.
Yeah.
Two.
answer your question.
Yeah.
I met with 317 last week. You had communicated you were coming in. I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Sure.
I'm gonna follow up with 317. We will communicate with you a clear path.
Sure.
Now here's, and so, just so you know, when you go up and clean up an area, and this is where any kind of construction project, and you know this,
Right.
having come from that. If you go in and you grade seed and straw everything, it's gonna sink.
Right.
And you gotta come back out again.
Right.
It's been very wet this spring.
It has been, but ours was put in January.
Right.
I mean, we've had, and
I'm
they've
not
had,
making
they
defense,
came
but-
in and they mounded it up, so it's sunk and it's done all the
I
stuff.
got you, I
Yeah.
got you. I'm not gonna go back.
Sure.
I wanna get you fixed.
Sure.
So this is what we'll do. I'll get with 317. We'll communicate with you. Here's when we're gonna be there. Here's what we're gonna do, and go that route.
Okay.
Jim, how many systems were installed in the area in which she resides?
So let me answer. Jim Shields, Aqua Indiana State Engineer. Brad, to go back into this project, there's 43 grinder pumps between Gulfview and Lakeland. To be clear, Lakeland was first. There was a public hearing held. Gulfview residents came in late because they said, this is a great deal, we want to be included. We struggled to get the participation rate from Gulfview. We reached the 65% mark. Gulfview was included in the Lakeland project. The contract for all of the work runs through Aqua Indiana. Aqua Indiana subcontract Structure Point to design the project. Aqua Indiana then, through Structure Point, they bid the job out. That is where Daystar Underground came in and put the lines in. Then a second bid was put out, and that is where 317 came in and to install the residence. This is a unique project. We've never done this before.
I would say it sounds very different than what the Hendricks Regional Sewer typically.
For our partnership, where we said $10,000 will take care of everything.
Which is about
I now have 43 residents, individual people, parties that I have to sit there and satisfy. And everyone has a different issue, has a different concern, has a different property issue. Fences, difficulty, we worked very diligently, starting with public hearings, or I'm sorry, not public hearings, public informational meetings. There were no less than 2 that we held.
Yeah, the first one, we didn't even get any information, even though
Because you were not invited.
Yeah, we were.
Gulfview, I don't think was part of the first one.
We were told that we were. That's what the grant writer told us, is that she sent out notices because our neighbors got them and we didn't. And that was because
We sent them to Lakeland first. We did not realize
So-
that, we thought Lakeland and Gulfview were two separate
things,
pieces.
right.
So we sent them to Lakeland, and then the residents of Lakeland go, oh yeah, Gulfview is
It's
part of
part,
us.
right.
And then, so that's.
From what I hear, this is a distinct,
just-
large project that ultimately Hendricks Regional Sewer took on behalf, or in Aqua was, took care of that.
And
But
I
it's
understand that it's unique and it's new. I'm here to say that whatever, I mean,
Yeah,
we are,
so-
and it's not just me. I know that there are others who are voicing their concerns, and we're essentially being told that, either it's fine because we're allowed to tear up your properties for 6 months, over the course of 6 months, without updating you on the progress, or, don't say anything because all you're gonna do is slow us down. And I'm here to say that that's not the way to deal with people and property
that's
owners,
never
because.
been our intent.
Right, and so,
And we've only-
just moving forward,
We've only
these are
had
things.
one other complaint.
Right. Because they don't know who to go
That's
to.
okay, I'm just saying, from our
Right.
standpoint, we've
Sure.
had one other complaint.
I can get you
Other
more
than-
if you want.
I don't care, that's fine. What I want
I'm
to do is take care
gonna
of.
take the lead here and we'll.
I want to take care of the problem.
Right.
Okay, so I still think where I ended was probably the best place to say, let me get with 317.
Sure.
We'll get you some dates and times, and we'll deal with you directly.
Yeah, you can do that, and then,
Because
I mean.
that's what we want. is
Again, we've had
we
other
want you
people
to be happy.
asking, who do we contact?
Yeah.
Who are we to contact
And if-
for this? So if you
and-
want me to send them to you,
You
I
can have them call me, absolutely,
Okay,
that's perfectly fine.
because what we were told last is to stop calling people.
No, I think
So-
the comment,
Is it
I
also
was
appropriate
copied on that. It
American
said, don't call
Construction-
317.
And don't call Structure Point.
American Structure
That was the
Point,
other one.
we
They
are
don't
paying
do
a.
that. But you, call me,
Okay.
just call me.
So
I'll take care of it.
So just let me finish one last thing here with retainage. We are holding money back on retainage to come back in and do the final restoration. Daystar, I've got $20,000+. With 317, I have another $25,000. There's money being held back to make sure the contractors do their work that's supposed to be done. The contact is through American Structure Point. Eric Newkirk is the field representative. He is the one that's supposed to be having the contacts, the discussions. I guess he's been at every one of these. I find it hard to believe that they don't know Eric's name, but Eric is the person where it needs to be filtered through.
Okay, well, I will, offer an apology on behalf of the Hendricks Regional Sewer Board, and understand it's a unique project that we haven't undertaken. We have highly qualified individuals that have seen it through. Communication, acknowledge, could have been better. It's like a lot of utility projects, unfortunately. We don't always get a message out. You're not gonna welcome us knocking at your door, but on behalf of Hendricks Regional, our apologies. It sounds like there's a pretty good plan in place to see it through, get the rating. The money's been retained. We just need to coordinate the vendors to see it through. And then in closing, it sounds like there is a contact at Structure Point versus Jim and his one person operation that really just
Have them call
runs.
me, whatever.
Runs the operation, but our apologies. I hope your grinder pump serves you well once we get it finished up and tidied and graded.
Yeah, it seems to work fine. I don't know. It's just, all these other
Better
things.
alternative
And
to the
I
septic,
will-
is that what they came
I
out?
will
Yeah.
tell you that, for the record, I mean, again, I'm used to working in this world.
It sounds like there was a subsidy too. I mean, they're usually 20
Yeah,
plus thousand
Yeah,
bucks.
there is a subsidy, and that's, that obviously
There
is
is no-
why a lot of people did want to
There is no
partake in the
grant
project.
on this.
Yeah, no,
There is
it's-
no grant on this.
Right.
In the district, in our partnership with the district, this was heavily subsidized.
We paid
by
for the
us.
other half.
Yeah. And if this is something that you continue with in the future, I mean, I'm not here to necessarily to be a problem.
Well, if we
But
do, we'll at
if
least
it moves
hopefully
forward,
learn from
call
this
me, 'cause
experience.
I'm happy to help. But yeah, like I said, I thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming in and
yeah,
dragging
well,
your young children in. And
Yeah, it's good
and
for 'em, right?
We hear what you're saying, and in the future, we'll maybe if necessary, we'll do a little better job of communication.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if
Yes.
I might, to Structure Point, next time you bid those contracts for the work, I'd like to see who you've got bidding. But I'm gonna wager that they don't know to separate the topsoil from the subsoil.
And that was another concern that has been brought up by other residents, is when they come back in to
You
do the
should do
regrading
that.
and everything.
Nobody does that in the residential world, Mr. Gentry. I'm sorry to tell you.
They should.
And I play in that space.
They should.
When you're dealing with, it sounds good on paper, but it doesn't happen.
Well, I can do it. I can pick a backhoe, I can do it. If they can't do it, I'll do
But if
it.
it's your own benefit, right, versus
Yeah.
40 of them.
Yeah,
Not to
sure.
defend, but we don't do that, so. Anything else before the Hendricks Regional Sewer Board this morning?
Yes, got one more. This is what I think you got in an email and you circulated around. These are the agreements, and I think they're copies. So please sign all.
This goes,
Don't point down here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's the commissioners own
All the above.
this property.
okay.
I'm not taking the,
But this is for the project on north of Brownsburg, where we're, yes,
Where we're duplicating?
yes, yes,
No.
exactly.
Yes.
They duplicated.
They
what
duplicated
we were
what we
doing.
had planned
Yeah.
You're referring
5
to
years ago.
Brownsburg,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, exactly.
okay.
What runs along the Ronald Ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has my name here.
Knock yourself
You
out.
want more?
You're the president of the plan, or the
This one
commission.
has all three of us here though.
Okay,
He need to sign that.
here you go. You can fill in the blanks,
Yep. I can take care of it.
like dates and whatever.
Yep.
Yours is typed out.
Oh, that's right.
Your VIP.
There you go. I don't-
All right, that's all I got.
Anything else? Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All
Second,
those in favor?
Aye.
Here you go, Jim.
We're
thanks.
How about lunch?
done. On next, what's that?
I think Mila is
Mileage.